If you've thought about writing a book for a really long time, but haven't been able to make progress, then I want to help you in this training. My name is Brian Dixon from Hope Books. And one of the best ways for you to make progress in your writing is to Carpe Day Commute. You've heard of Carpe Diem, right? Seize the day. But what if you could seize your commute? What if you could use the time that you spend in the car to write your book? That's what I'm going to be sharing in this training. So I want you to know that one of the best times for you to be able to write your book is actually while you're driving. Now, I haven't officially been diagnosed with ADHD, but I'm pretty sure that I have some of the characteristics. And what that means for me is it's really hard to just sit down and write. And maybe you've struggled with this as well. Okay. It's really hard to just take out a journal and just start writing, just flow. Like I get stuck. I think about other things. I want to check my phone. There's so much going on in my brain that's hard to approach a blank page, a blank journal page, and make progress. The same is true of trying to type it out. If I were in a quiet room by myself trying to type, there's no way that I'm getting the book done. What I discovered when I was working on my doctoral program, the best way for me to write at that time was to actually go to a public place. So go to a coffee shop, go to the Denny's or the Perkins, the all-night diner, and write there because there'd be enough going on that would distract me back to focus. You can use the distraction to focus you. But it wasn't until probably about 5 or 6 years ago that I discovered the trick that I'm going to share with you here, which is that you can use the distraction of being on the road, of driving the car, of cars going by you, of all the scenery that you're whizzing by, just maintaining your speed limit, maintaining the steering and the gas and the cruise control. All those things are enough distraction that I can just focus on the flow of my words. And I have found that I make so much more progress in the car if I'm not listening to something, I'm not taking in an audiobook or listening to the news or listening to music, but instead I hit record. And that's what I want to recommend to you. Hit record. Hit record while you drive, and you might be surprised at what you can accomplish as you drive. Now, there's a few ways to do it, and I want to share those with you here. The number one recommendation that I would suggest is that before you drive, you know where you're going. Not just physically you know where you're going, but you actually know where you need to go when it comes to your writing. And what I teach is a 5-step process to writing your book. You've probably heard this a couple times before. You have your XYZ statement. I help X overcome Y so they can Z. Then you have your transformational tale. That's step number 2. Transformational tale is the prison, which leads to the promised land according to the path. Prison, promise, path. All right. So now that we have that, we know what the prison is, we know what the promised land is, we know what the path is that you're going to be sharing in your book. What you do is you print out your transformational tale. Essentially, this is really the table of contents of your book. So if you have, this is where I was stuck, this is where I am now, and here are the steps to get there, then you can print it out, fold it up, and keep it with you. And before you start the car, you take out that piece of paper, you look at it and you say, okay, I'm going to tackle step number 5 on this drive. Step number 5 on the drive. So then you look at what step number 5 is, start your car, get on the road, and you press record. I'm going to talk to you about exactly how to press record, but let's just say something's recording, and then you start talking it out. Welcome to chapter 5, the step 5, and then you just start talking it out. And then what will happen is eventually you'll find your way. You'll go, oh, there's this story. There's this story that I want to share about this. Oh, let me tell you. And you're talking like you're talking to a friend. And you're recording your content as you're driving. And there's enough of the construction and somebody's passing you, and then there's a billboard, and then you've got an exit to get on. There's enough of that going on that you can just talk it out. And that inner critic, that like inner editor that so many of us struggle with as we write, don't edit while you write. I'm sure you've heard that before. But that inner critic that so many of us deal with, it goes away. Like we're driving away from them because as we're driving, it's hard to also criticize the quality of your writing because you're just driving, you're just talking it out. So let's talk about how to actually record while you drive. There's a few ways to do this, okay? A really simple way is to get a voice recorder. Like literally just get a dedicated device that is a voice recorder. You can go on TikTok or Amazon or wherever you buy stuff, go to Best Buy and just get a voice recorder and set it up in your car. Like just leave it in your car. Most of these things, you charge them once and they'll last for 24 plus hours. They record on a little memory card. You don't have to worry about little tapes or anything like that. And you just hit record. You just record everything that's happening in the car as you're driving. And then you just start talking it out. Okay, welcome to chapter 5. Here's the story I want to tell you. This years ago, this thing happened. And then you just tell the story. Okay. And then when you just talk it out. Now, if you get distracted, if you turn on some music, it doesn't matter. You can keep recording. And you just know that when you're in the car, there's a little red light that is recording and it's allowing you to process, to verbally process, to get your words out. Okay. So that's one way. That's probably the easiest way. Just buy a little cheap voice recorder that you can plug in your computer or save on a little memory card, and then you can access it later. I'm going to talk about exactly what to do after you record. All right. Another way to do it is to use your phone. Now, this one is not as recommended because it can be a little distracting because you get other stuff on your phone. If I'm recording on my phone, then I might also go, oh, did I get an email? Did I get a text message? What's going on YouTube? Is somebody messaging me? What's happening on social media? I don't know about you, but if my phone is a distraction device. So I would not recommend your phone. In fact, put your phone over on the passenger seat where you can't even reach it, especially if you know where you're going. All right, so that's the middle option. You probably already have that one. And then the highest option, and this is something I've started doing, which at first I was a little afraid of what people would think. The highest option is to get a device like the one I'm using right now. I'm using an Osmo Pocket 3 DJI camera, and it's a separate camera. And actually it's cool, it has some face tracking, see? So I can do that, all right? And it'll do that in the car as well. You're driving the car, so I'm looking forward. Okay, I got my steering wheel, I'm looking forward, and it's recording my video, and I'm saying, okay, in chapter 5, here's what I want to do. Now, why would you record the video of you writing your book? It's because you're going to say some really cool things. You're going to say some smart things. And now you can use the video for social media, for YouTube, for LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can use it for all those things. But the reason you're actually recording with a video camera is because you want to get your words down. You want to record your words. So we're either recording in a voice recorder, we're recording on our iPhone, or we're recording on something like what I have here, which is a separate camera. Okay, now how do you do it with the separate camera? You get one of those little suction cup tripod things, you stick it to your windshield, and it'll follow your face. And so you just set it up, it's just out of the way, so it's not in your way of what you can see out the windshield, and then you're just recording it. You do the same with your iPhone. Put your iPhone in your little charger, just point it to you, hit the camera button, hit video, change it to 4K so it's really high quality, turn it so it's facing towards you, hit record, and just let it run. Just let it run as long as you're driving, 30 minutes, an hour, let it run, okay? Let it run. So now you have a story, okay? You have a story recorded that you want to include in your book. So what do you do next? What do you do next? Step number 2 is transcribe. We're going to take that video file or that audio file, and we're going to put it into a transcription software, transcription platform. Now there's a lot of them and they change all the time. The one I'm currently using is called Trint, T-R-I-N-T, Trint.com. So you go to Trint, you log in Trint, and then you hit upload, and you can upload a video or you can upload an audio file, and it will automatically transcribe all the words that you said in the file and give you basically a Google document of your audio or of your video. What's really cool is you can then actually press play, watch through the words on your Google document, and you can even like delete the words and it'll delete the sound of those words. That's really neat. So that's really the third step. First step is record, second step is transcribe, and the third step is edit. So what you do is you look for those key sections from your transcription, and you're gonna have a lot of junk. You're gonna have a lot of, I don't know what to write about. Oh, I missed my exit. What am I talking about? Maybe you accidentally hopped on a phone call and you forgot your recording. Like you're gonna have a lot of this extra stuff, but it doesn't matter because you scan through your transcript and you're just looking for the gold. Then what I would recommend in the editing process is you're just copying from the transcript and you're pasting it into another place, like a Scrivener document or a Google document, okay? That's what you're doing. Now, the whole purpose of this Carpe Day Commute, writing while you drive, is to get your rough draft out. It's not going to be a perfect draft. It's your rough draft out. Once you get your rough draft out, now you can clean it up, but you got to get it out. You got to get it down before you can clean it up. Now, I saved the best for last. I've got one bonus tip that is going to help you write even faster and have higher quality output than ever before. This is something that I've been doing a lot more of, and it's actually using an AI app to transcribe and edit your words as you go. Now, I use the ChatGPT app. So here's basically what I do. I start the car, I open up my ChatGPT app, I look at my notes of what I'm supposed to talk about next. So like chapter 5, I'm going to tell a story in chapter 5. Then on my ChatGPT app, I hit start new conversation, I hit the record, and I explain to it. I have to pre-prompt it. I say, you are a developmental editor, and your job is to take the words that I'm about to say, clean them up, don't change my words, but clean them up and make them ready for a print-ready nonfiction manuscript. And then I just talk it out. Now, it usually lets me go about 8 to 10 minutes of talking before it hits its limit of data. So I talk for 5-6 minutes on regularly, about 5 or 6 minutes. I'll get to a stop sign, and then I'll hit the done button. It'll transcribe all the words I shared. I'll hit upload, and then it'll actually clean them all up, organize them, adding the punctuation, adding the headings of the different sections, making the paragraphs the way they're supposed to be. And then I'll hit the microphone button again. I'll talk out the next section, or I'll say, hey, what am I missing? Or ask me a question about what to write next. So it'll ask you a question, and then you hit the microphone button again. You hit the microphone button again, and then you answer the question. And you keep going back and forth with the AI to write out the whole chapter. And if you get stuck, this is why it's the best part. If you get stuck, you say, hey, how do I finish this chapter? What would you recommend I address? What section should I add next? And it'll make a suggestion, and then you can record your response to that section. So I hope this encourages you and helps you. It's actually, I'm up here in Asheville. It's about 2 hours away from my house, and I was able to write quite a lot of content in the car using this method on the way from home up here. Carpe Day Commute, using the time in the car, seizing the day to get more writing done.